Hey guys, Brandon Woolum hanging out in Nashville with the Dean of Phillips, Craig and Dean. Dean, how are you, man?
I'm much better looking than the two of those guys, and I'm doing good.
Yeah, we left them at home for today and here promoting a new solo record, going to be out on June 20th.
That's exactly right.
Called More.
Absolutely.
So let's talk. I mean, we're like 30 plus years into this musical career now, and we sit here on this couch, and now the solo album comes. So why now for the solo album?
Well, actually, this will be my second solo album. I did one before Phillips, Craig, and Dean started, 1988,
Wow.
and it went aluminum.
Didn't even make it to Spotify because I checked this morning to make sure that this was the first one.
So, this is something that kind of happened at the spurring of one of my friends, Dave Clark. He said, why don't you have the time now. My other two guys are still in full-time ministry as lead pastors at the church. Why don't you do an album and just see what happens? Maybe invite some guests to sing with you on it and have some fun. And so I decided to take the plunge, and I did it, and I'm very excited about it. I think we have some really good songs. There's 11 songs on the project, and I co-wrote or wrote, I think, 8 out of the 11, and my son wrote one of them.
Yeah.
So, and sings with me on it. So it's been a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to going out and singing with it.
Yeah, so at least one of the songs that you performed for us today is at least 5 years old. So these songs that we're going to hear on this album on June 20th, do they all kind of date back a few years, or are these all recent? When you got in this mindset of solo album, you started writing for this project?
I think it's a little of both. I've got one song on the album that I wrote on the first solo album that I did, which was in 1988.
Wow.
And it's one of those songs that I looked at the project, said, nobody's ever heard this song. And I ran it by Gordon Moat, who produced half of this project. And he said, man, I think you ought to do it. So we put it on the project. And then there's a lot of songs that are brand new for this project, including the one, even though I wrote it a few years back, nobody had really ever heard it. So I put that on it.
Yeah, and you brought some friends in to help on this one too. Emily Ann Roberts on there, the Isaacs on there, your son's on there.
Yeah.
Talk about how these guest collaborations kind of helped bring the album to life.
Well, it was kind of like, when I first started talking about the album, I think I had in mind that it was going to be a guest on every song I did. And Dave was like, who do you have in mind you want to sing on this? And so I just started picking out some people that I really, Isaacs, I love their harmony. And it was kind of like dream. And if you can get somebody on here you really like, it'll be great. So getting Emily Ann Roberts on there was a real coup for me, because I think she is going to be a huge star in country music. Already is, basically.
Mm-hmm.
But what an incredible voice, and loves Jesus, and just a wonderful lady. Yeah, there's people get the album. There's quite a few surprises on here.
You even brought in the rest of your trio for a song on this.
I did.
Too, yeah?
The first track on the project is Randy Phillips and Sean Craig singing with me. And it is a very classic PCD harmony sounding song. There's something, 33 years of being together, and there's still something very special about that harmony that I don't know if there's anything like it. It's very unique, and I think God brought us together, and I think since we recorded that, I've about talked them into going back in the studio again. So hopefully here in the next 6 months or so, we'll go do something again.
Yeah. As we sit here, we're about a week and a half away from the release of this album. June 20th, More will be out there. We've heard a few of the tracks. What's the one that you're ready for people to hear that they haven't heard yet?
Oh, well, you caught me off guard with that one. Somebody told me one time, as a songwriter, nobody ever has an ugly baby. So if you give birth to something, it's beautiful. So they're all really special to me. But I have to tell you, there's a song on the project called Never Gets Old. And it's a song that I wrote with my mother in mind. There's two songs, actually, I wrote with my mother in mind on this project. But she, in the process of writing for this album, I lost my mother. She lived a long, full life, 96 years old. But Never Gets Old kind of walks through the different seasons a person has in their life. And I can remember, us kids around the table, we used to have traditions in our family. My mother was a stay-at-home mom with 5 boys. Very interesting. But she used to have this little loaf of bread on the table that had promises, and every meal we would draw one of those promises out of that. It was the shape of a loaf of bread, and we'd read those promises, and then through her life, when the kids left home and, when my father passed away, I would go in the house and there would be her Bible, tear-stained, marked up. And so the song really is about how the Word of God is the consistent thing through all the seasons of life and how it carried her through those seasons. Hopefully, the same for me, that I lean into the Word of God. So I probably have had as much reaction from people that have heard that song than almost any on the project.
That's awesome. We talk about the 30 plus years of music, but really we can probably go back to closer to 50 for this ministry you've been doing with music and Shepherd's Rest and all of this stuff. How do you balance all this stuff still today?
You're dating me now. 50. People have to realize I was 13 when I got married with Mark and Saul. No, just joking. I actually started my ministry career when I was 20 years old, and it was one of these deals where I was the first worship pastor that my father-in-law hired. My father-in-law was not my father-in-law at the time. I went in there as the first hire he'd ever had at his church as the worship pastor, which back then it was called minister of music, and promptly married his daughter. And then I never, ever planned on getting into speaking ministry. I was totally confident and happy just to work in the music for church. But through the years, I think because I could handle myself speaking, he would use me from time to time when he'd go on vacation or it was a holiday weekend and he didn't think very many people were going to be there. And I kind of developed that skill, and then he got sick later in life, and then I would have to take over for 3 months. He had liver cancer, and then it was 6 months, and by the time he passed, the church said, "We want you to be our pastor." And I said, "Let me pray about it." No, I did. And for 2 years, I really resisted assuming that role. But after 2 years of, they brought in another guy, and it didn't work very well. So they came back to me again, and by then I was ready. So the last 17 years at the church there, I was the lead pastor. And today, my oldest son, is now the pastor.
Wow.
And, so it's passed from 29 years with my father-in-law to, let's see, how many years? I just celebrated my 40th year at the church, June the 1st. But 17 as lead pastor. Now, my son started when he was 19 as an intern there, and he's now 42. So there's quite a legacy there. 3 pastors at one church and all in the same family.
Yeah.
Very crazy.
How does that full-time pastor work influence the songwriting over the years with all these projects you've been a part of?
Huge. I can't tell you how many songs that I've written through the years that are totally from something that happened in church or somebody's story in church. Just all kind of things that a message that I heard from somebody that was coming through as a guest. Mercy Came Running was one of those that I heard. That wasn't the title of the message, but that was basically what the message said. And I think all three of us have had, our writing has been driven by the experiences of the church. So it's very much so. And you ask about the balance. You have a good staff, number one. You have people around you that can help you. And the other thing is the three of us, we were, from the day we started until today, we've always been on staff at a church. I'm the first one to step down from the lead pastor role. I'm what they call semi-retired. I don't know exactly what that means, but that has allowed me to do this project. I have more time on my hands, but it's a balancing act for sure.
Yeah. And over this long career of now multi-decades, you've seen worship evolve multiple directions, go back and forth in different ways. What do you think the church needs more of a style of worship today, sitting here?
Wow. Well, I'll tell you, I love the worship music of today. The Sunday at church, we did, I can't think of the name of the song. Who am I to deny what the Lord can do? I think it's You Are More Than Able. Is that the name of that song? But anyway, I do foresee a time when I think that church music is going to be more theologically based again, where you see theological truths in, and not saying that they don't have that today, but when you hear a song like "Oh Mighty Fortress is Our God," or you hear one of these old hymns, it's very theologically sound, and I think we're going to see a return to that at some point. I'm not sure when. But one of the things that I love about today's worship music is it's, for the most part, it's really easy to lock into and sing. You can hear a song, and by the time you hear it through a couple of times, you're singing along with it. So I'm old school. I like hymns. I still like for them to do a hymn. I still like a choir, and thank God for the choir room that's come back in. And
did we get a choir on this record? Did you fit in there anywhere?
I didn't get a choir on this album, but I still, back in the day that I took the job as a worship pastor, we had the choir and the robes and all the hoopla, and it was a lot of fun, and I miss those days. I know I'm dating myself here, but the styles have changed. I think it's inevitable, and I don't fight against it. I embrace it for the most part. But I still, when I hear a choir song, there's something inside of me, just even one with an organ, the old Hammond B3 or C3 cranking, or something about it it calls to my soul. That's all I can say about it.
Yeah. Earlier you mentioned we're going to be able to take this project on the road. How will that work? Will this be kind of an opening act for the trio, or
no,
is this going to be completely separate?
I think it'll be completely separate, and I really want to make clear, everybody needs to hear this. Phillips, Craig, and Dean is not retiring, and we've not, my priority will always be with the group. But they're limited on the amount of dates they can do with the positions they hold, and we've had that for years. At the most, we probably did 85 dates a year. And now we do maybe 40 to 50 dates a year. So with not being on staff at a church, that leaves me with some places I can plug in, and I'm sure there'll be a time when I will book something, and then we'll have an offer come in, and I'll say, guys, I'm sorry, I've already taken something. But for the most part, my priority will be Phillips, Craig, and Dean. And I will tell you that we're already singing the song that we recorded on this album. Every concert we're singing it, and they're nice enough to do that for me and promote this project, and I'm really thankful for that. They're not selfish at all, and I think part of the reason for that is the ministry that all the proceeds of this album are going to. It's a nonprofit that I formed a couple of years ago called Shepherd's Rest. Randy's actually been to one of those where we take, generally it's 3 ministry couples away, and we pay all their expenses and we get them to someplace nice. And for 3 days, we just love on them and pray for them and support them and encourage them. And you're not here to learn about how to build a church or, no lessons being taught. Let's just encourage each other, and it's really been great to date. So every dollar that I raise from the sale of this project is going to go toward Shepherd's Rest. I love pastors.
Yeah, that's awesome. June 20th, you can help contribute to that. More will be out there streaming everywhere. I'm guessing physical product will also be available at some of the shows, right?
Yes. Remember a CD? Does anybody remember those?
They're not cool anymore. Vinyl is what's cool now.
Yeah, no. I'm going to have to get some vinyl. I don't have vinyl yet, but I'm going to get some just because it's cool.
All right. Well, good hanging with you. More is out there from Dan Dean on June 20th.